Hello, fearless gamers!
Oh.
The Vet here in Stark Lord, and today we would like to humbly apologize. Our Titan battle isn't happening as we scheduled.
Sorry.
Turns out the wild card kind of pulled a wild card on us, and he's unable to make it today. So we've pushed that back to the 14th. So anybody who's in the Wilson Park area, check out Grasshopper on Saturday the 14th and see two Forge World Titans duke it out with a bunch of Guard and Dark Angels and awesomeness. So what we're going to do today, as most people are aware, 6th edition is the new hot thing right now on the internet.
Hello.
Yep, and so we're going to be doing a... Don't eat the book.
But I want to gain its knowledge.
It doesn't work that way. That's not the Grimoire Machinorum.
Oh.
Yeah, doesn't work.
So we'll read it.
So, now what we're going to do is we're going to read the book, go over the rules, and then we're going to decide, we're going to then give you guys our opinions on the rules prior to playing a game. Then we'll do like a pseudo battle report so you guys can follow us along, and then we're going to give our thoughts of the rules after a game. And it's probably going to be, what army did you bring?
I brought my Sisters of Battle.
Okay, so it's going to be Sisters of Battle versus the Eldar. And I know a lot of people have some issues with the new Forge World FAQ. We'll be making a video about that later.
Yeah, let's wait for them to actually finish doing their work on that.
We are going to go off now. Let's read these rules and we'll be right back. Alright, we are back and we've just read over the rules a little bit.
Yes, we did.
Your thoughts?
I personally, I do like the new rules. I mean, we're not going to really know until we play it. But I like how shooting works. I think assaults look good. I think the thing that's going to be the worst for us at the beginning is definitely going to be wound allocation. Not because it's bad or anything, just because it's a little different. So it's going to be a little complicated for us the first couple goes.
With me, I was watching on YouTube, one person said, like, the game is 40k only by fluff only, and I disagree with that. Like,
who said that? Don't tell me.
I was reading, I don't remember their name, I was just reading the video, but I was sitting there going, no, the rules are pretty standard. It reminds me very much of, like, 3rd edition in terms of, like, the different intricacies, and they're a little bit more cleared out. They clarify a lot of stuff, like, no, this is how you move models, it's not this way. Like,
much clearer.
They kind of try to reduce the amount of, in a sense, cheapskating it.
Yeah, I think what people are trying to get, a lot of people are trying to say it's like, it's fantasy 8th edition but sci-fi. It's not. I mean, the only thing that really has in fantasy are pre-measuring, which they should in sci-fi universes anyways because they have computers in their helmets. You have random charge length, which is fine, especially with a pre-measuring game. And
Psychers work about the same.
And Psychers, well, they choose your powers the same way. The Psychers still work the way they worked in 40k, it's just you can choose your powers randomly at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's similar to 4th ed. And they added Hatred, 8th ed, and they added Hatred, but who cares?
And I kind of like, now, Witchblades make me so happy now. You don't know how happy that made me.
I don't think I want to know
how
happy it makes
me.
Might be a little
I'm
awkward.
a little upset with the way vehicles are taken down, but that's just a personal thing. And there's a couple of things that are a little wonky, like, because, like, the way vehicle damage works, it kind of counteracts the Eldar holofields, which they didn't errata in the FAQ.
They will, I'm sure, soon.
So I'm like, how does this work and all that? And so, I don't know. I'm excited to get it to go. We won't really know how we feel until we play, but going off, I kind of like what they were doing.
I think they've done a good job. At the very least, it's much clearer than like every other 40k rulebook has been in the past. Everything's very thoroughly written. I mean, they even went to the length of avoiding people saying if a model has it or the weapon they're using has it, they have this ability, because people would fight over that. They always fight over crap like that, and they really spent the time making sure they're pretty concise on everything.
Okay, so now let's get our army stood up and we'll be right back. Alright, we are back and let's take a look at this. This is the Stark Lord's army. He's running Sisters of Battle with an ally of Grey Knights.
Those are gray, I swear.
That's because he wants to have an assassin go, oh, looky, I've got an assassin.
And an Inquisitor.
Yeah, no one cares about the Inquisitors. Not even the Inquisitors.
So true.
And he's going up against my Eldar. This is probably my worst build ever, but I decided to go with as much craziness to get as many of the different rules to be applied as possible, and try out some Forge World stuff, see how they work out. So, we're going to set up our battlefield and go up. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We've just set up the whole fortification setup here. We've got the Eldar deployed down here. And we've got one unit of Shadow Spectre's deep striking, and then we got the Sisters of Battle over here. The Sisters are have a couple of things doing outflanking, and we rolled for our commander traits. The Sisters of Battle commander trait was, what was it again?
The one that lets me reroll the reserves.
Yes, he got the Master Strategist, which allows him to reroll for reserves, and I got Combat Mastery or something that basically gives me Furious Charge as long as I'm within a deployment zone with the HQ and his models.
Yep.
So, we're going to go on to turn 1, and let's see what happens. Okay, we are back. We have just finished turn 1, and basically what happened was the Stark Lord moved everything forward. He fired a couple of shots with his penitent engines? Exorcist. Wow. But he didn't do any wounds to anything. His Vindicare Assassin shot and wounded the Wraith Lord. But then on the bottom of the turn, the Eldar Rangers took out the Vindicare Assassin, causing first blood on my part.
Mm-hmm.
So
which is a secondary objective.
Which is a secondary objective and gives me basically 3 victory points because of the way that this whole setup worked.
Mm-hmm.
And then these guys shot a massive shots into this squad, and St. Celestine took it all because of the new wound allocation stuff, and she's down to 1 wound.
Let's clarify, there were 24 hits.
Yeah.
24 hits, and then how many wounds was it?
15.
15 wounds.
She took 2.
Yeah.
You're not in the shot, I'm sorry.
One model,
there
15 wounds.
And then both tanks were shot at, one by the Warp Hunter, which gave this down 1 structure hull point, so it has 2 left. And this got shot by the Falcon, reducing it by 1 structure point. Mm-hmm. So now we're going on to turn 2, and let's see what happens. Can Starklord turn this around?
Of course I can.
Okay, we are back. Turn 2 just ended. He moved a bunch of his units. Starklord moved a bunch of his units up this front and dropped a squad of girls right here. He then also brought his Saints over here to fire at the Guardians and the Dire Avengers with the 2 what are they called?
Immolators.
Immolators.
Oh,
sorry about the strap there. The Immolators came on and flamed a bunch of stuff to death. The Saint and the Sisters then attacked the Dire Avengers, and the Avengers only survived because she ran out of dudes to kill, because they were no longer touching. Then, at the bottom of turn 2, Eldrad casted Puppet Master on this squad, making a Melt-A-Gun girl blow up the tank over here, forcing the girls out. He then casted Terrifying, so they treated everything as if they had the fear rule. They no longer had fearless if they had it, and they had to immediately make a morale check. And then he casted Misfortune, so they had to do all crazy nasty save stuff. The snipers then sniped the crap out of these girls, and then at that point the Warp Hunter ether raped apart the girls that were sitting here, and the Warlock and the Eldrad and his Seer Council finished them off.
Oh, one of them.
These Guardians blew up this Rhino with their Star Cannon, whereas the Falcon that's hiding behind this building killed a Grey Knight that was over here.
Can't really see that.
The Wraith Lord then assaulted this squad of girls and just murdered them, and then he moved back. And then St. Celestine proceeded to murder the Dire Avengers. So we're now at the top of turn 3.
Let me just say that this whole region over here, that he kept pointing at the area where there's no models. The word I want to use, I can't use. So I will just say it was a massacre. An absolute...
They got schooled.
I feel so bad. And
he never feels bad for Sisters.
I really don't. But they were doing so well over there. And then just the foot of Morph.
Okay, and we'll be back at the end of turn 3. Alright, we are back. Turn 3 is over, and man, has the tide shifted on this one. first off, the first thing that happened was these Grey Knights, as they are, moved up towards the wall.
And did nothing else.
While this tank moved forward and dropped off his payload of girls right over to this one. This tank, I believe, moved forward?
Yes, a little bit.
Yep, and then the St. Celestine moved up towards the Wraith Lord, while her squadron moved up towards Eldrad and his command squad. These sisters shot and blew this tank up, whereas this immolator fired and destroyed the guardians that were here. The Exorcist fired at the Falcon that's back here and blew it up.
We can't see. There it is.
The girls decided to shoot at Eldrad and didn't kill anybody. These girls, no, they did nothing.
They tried to shoot the
These girls tried
nothing.
to shoot at the Wraith Lord and missed. He shot at the Wraith Lord and missed. St. Celestine assaulted the Wraith Lord, and the Wraith Lord fired its flamer, dropping her before she could get there.
Overwatch sucks. And it's awesome.
Eldrad took on the fight with the St. Celestine and her little retinue, and eventually, they wiped down the 2 models each. My turn, the snipers fired at these girls and they survived. My Shadow Spectres with Aurelius did deep strike, but they fell off the table and were put back in reserves. The Eldrad casted Terrifying and Misfortune on the on the Sister Superior, whoever she is.
Sister Superior.
Sister Superior on the on them.
Nobody cares.
And the Wraith Lord assaulted that tank. The Wraith Lord murdered that tank.
Yeah, it sure looks like it.
Then Eldrad and the Saint and the squad fought at each other, and it went down from Eldrad to the Sister Superior. The Sister Superior left because she's a coward, and she suffered dangerous terrain, but she managed to pass her saves.
Yep.
And so now we're going up to top of turn 4. Doesn't look too good for the Eldar, so let's see what happens.
You know, knowing Stark Lord and knowing you and knowing the armies, it doesn't matter if it doesn't look good for you. This is when he's going to start rolling really, really badly.
Probably.
And you're gonna have your comeback. I mean, you still got your sniper, you still got your Wraith Lord, and that Wraith Lord's he's gonna cut the heads off all these little girls. These guys are just gonna continue to admire the architects.
Same with those girls.
Yeah.
They're a surveying team. It's what they do.
I think you have this in the bag.
We'll see. Let's wait and find out what happens at turn 4, possibly final turn. Alright, turn 4 is ended, and this is what's happened thus far. The Space Marines moved up, and
They took shots at Eldrad, but did nothing.
They took shots at Eldrad, did nothing. Pretty much everything took shots at the Wraith Lord and Eldrad and did nothing. The Sister Superior took shots at the Rangers and did nothing, and these tanks, I believe, just moved forward.
Yeah.
Then the Saint and the Sisters assaulted the Wraith Lord and dropped it. At that point in the game, Aurelius and his squad showed up. They were deep striking here, but they ended up landing right over here. Thankfully, Grey Knights didn't cast their spell, so they were able to stay there. They then fired at these Grey Knights, killing 1 dude. They did horrible with their rolling. Eldrad casted Terrifying on the squad of sisters here, and Misfortune, and Puppet Mastered the Saint to attack her girls. The snipers then sniped St. Celestine, dropping her, while Eldrad assaulted these sisters here, wiping them out. And so now we are on the top of turn 5, the official final turn, because that's when we start rolling randomness. So let's see if there is a turn 6, or if this is the end, what happens. Your thoughts so far? And we'll be right back. Alright, the game went to turn 5 and it ended in a draw. Believe it or not, it drawed with just a squad of Rangers in this building over here. Take a look at it. Those dudes right there basically made me the game. I would have won if St. Celestine did not return on turn 5.
Wait, so what you're saying is that squad is worth the same amount of victory as pretty much all this.
No.
Basically what it ended up is because he had more kill points in total.
Okay.
So I had more units to fire at. He killed the same amount of points on my end, so at that point it was a draw. Mm-hmm. I then got I got 2 bonus points for first blood on him.
Okay. And I got 1 bonus point for killing Eldrad and 1 bonus point for having guys on his side.
Okay.
So it ended up being a total of 9 victory points on either side.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, I kind of like that in the sheer fact.
Considering the level of slaughter that he was... I mean, that last round was just no good for you.
No.
It was just bad news for the Eldar.
So, overall, what are your feels on 6 of Dead?
It's not that different from 5th altogether. It's a fun game. It's still a fun game. The psychic powers are annoying and ridiculous and therefore perfect. They ruin my day constantly. It was a fun game. So far, so good.
Okay. My final thoughts is, well, I do agree it's very similar to 5th. It does remind me a lot of 3rd edition, just with how the different rules and stuff that you have to remember and some of the complications. I find, like, as one person said, the game has changed in the sense of strategy. I kept forgetting I didn't have Fortune anymore, or Guide, or any of my awesome psychic powers that I'm used to. So I had to play my Psychers a little bit different than I was normally. But on the flip side, I noticed I was playing a lot of units that I tend to play more reserved or more outgoing, and I saw a major difference in my strategy, which benefited me on this point. I could play a bit more aggressive with my Eldar, whereas in 5th I found I was playing more defensively. Mm-hmm. And as they were saying, you know, even though the primary was won by the Stark Lord, well, the primary was tied, and he murdered me, I was still able to pull a draw out of it. So overall, I think the game has changed for the better, because there's always a chance to win, and there's never like a, oh, I just won type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and do you have any thoughts on 6?
As a spectator, it was pretty much the more things change, the more they stay the same. Yes, there are some major differences, but overall, it's still 40K. It's still the same game you're playing, so if you're a little bit wary, don't be. Because at its core, you're still a bunch of little plastic dudes rolling d6s to destroy other plastic dudes. The only thing that I think needs to be changed is that the Stark Lord really needs to paint the bottom of his tanks better, because they look awful.
Well, there's a bottom. You're not supposed to see that part.
And yet you flip them over.
That's true.
Okay, so that is all for now. Thank you for watching, Fearless Gamers. Next week we'll be doing the Titan battle here at Grasshopper. I'd like to thank Grasshopper for letting us film here. And so, that's all for now. Until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care!